Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the We Love You Arsenal transfer show. We're back again after discussing Lisandro Martinez a few days ago and how that deal might be collapsing. Although we had an update since that video from David Ornstein saying we are still in talks. I think United are going to get him, but that's not the subject of this video. Just going to say, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Just click that button. That's what I'm saying. And check out the socials in the description below. And yeah, today we've got a new rumour to talk about. It's been a while since we've addressed a new rumour, but as me and Rob have said in a few podcasts and videos of late, it does feel like the initial flurry is gone, where we had our targets. We were able to get some, we weren't able to get others, and now we're looking at some other players, but there may be a bit of a lull in the market now. But that player that we're going to talk about is Milikovic-Savic of Lazio. Very good midfielder. We've been linked with him in the past. United have been linked with him in the past. He was a very hot property sort of 5 years ago, but he never got that move for reasons which I'm going to ask Mac about because he knows about every player in depth. He didn't get the move, but he's still fucking excellent. I mean, just look at his FB ref if you want to have an understanding of the player, and maybe some clips. I had some clips, some scouting of him earlier. But yeah, I'm going to start with Mac. Thoughts on this rumor in general?
This is the rumor that falls into like the Philip Coutinho circle of transfer rumors for me automatically, just because he gets linked to a big club every summer. I think we still need a little bit of midfield depth that we were originally going to address with the Tielemans signing. If we're going to compare the two, it's night and day. Tielemans is smaller, very much, kind of more technically astute, quicker between the lines, maybe, but Milikovic Savic brings this really interesting combination of like technical prowess with just massive physique. He's strong, he's quick, he's a nightmare to get off the ball and very good on it. I'd say his one flag that I would maybe kind of dig into a little bit is the fact that he can be rash in a challenge, but the reason why he didn't get the Manchester United or Real Madrid move as a 22, 23-year-old is, first of all, because he had a massive release clause of something like 95 million in his Lazio contract, which has since been removed when he re-signed. The second reason is because that was, I believe, the summer before he went to the World Cup with Serbia and entirely flopped. And for some reason, clubs think that World Cup performances accurately reflect the profile of a player, which, seems a bit odd to me, but it is what it is. Yeah, other than that, I think he'd be an amazing signing. They are asking for around 60 million, which I think I want Rob to get into because he's our numbers man. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's a fantastic player. I do have a little worry about his pressing intensity, similar with Tielemans. He is kind of, actually, if you look at FBref, the third most similar player on Milikovic-Savic's profile is Yuri Tielemans. But that said, his first two are Leon Goretzka and Jude Bellingham, which both of whom kind of fit a profile of player that we very much don't have and could very much use. He's kind of the typical box-to-box in the best way.
Yeah, I have a few queries about this one. Mainly his age. I think he's 27. You've got his FB ref up. Is he almost 28? I think that's what I saw earlier. He's like,
yeah, we're looking at 27 and 128 days. So like okay. 27 and a half. He'll be 28 this January. Yeah.
So that for me is an immediate red flag in terms of the rumors. Like, I don't know how valid they are. And just in the fact that they don't match the profile of player. We are looking for a few more experience or players that are going into their prime. We're looking at Jesus, for example, Rafinha, Tielemans, to sort of add to the cohort of young players we have. But I think 28 is probably a little bit, or 27 and a half is probably a little bit of a stretch. And that would be signing a player on a huge fee with little resale value, who, as brilliant as he's been in Italy, has never played in the Premier League and is very unproven at that level. Will take time to adapt, so it'd be a risky signing, which is why I think Tielemans fits the bill a bit more, even if Milikovic-Savic has some things over Tielemans. I did like from the clips. I noticed a lot that he was very much a right-sided player. Playing on the right, maybe even midfield three, but we didn't see much of him as a left eight, which is sort of what I think our priority should be. But he does look very creative. He looks like a bit of a goal threat as well. Gets a lot of shots, and he's very physical. I just think I don't know. My hunch is that Tielemans is still the priority target in this area, and that will go for him. Rob, just relay your thoughts on the deal, and get onto the numbers like Max said.
Yeah, I've never been called a numbers man, but I guess I can go into that. That is a significant outlay. I'm not sure that's sort of the position we're looking to spend that money on. I think we do have the money just because we were bidding in that sort of region for Rafinha, so that money is there. Just sort of depends whether we want to now chuck that at a midfielder instead and perhaps go for a cheaper winger. That would be an interesting one to sort of follow. I value your point about the age, Alfie, just because we haven't signed a player of that age profile since Thomas Partey, which is now 2 summers ago. And Arsenal have entered a very different direction since then in terms of the profile of player they look for. And that's not to say we're sort of averse to buying proven talent. I think we're just not trying to sign the sort of players that they're going to get us to where we want to be next season. That's not what Arsenal do anymore. It's much more of a long-term thinking behind signings. Even the older sort of players that we've signed, Gabriel Jesus, who was announced today, 25 years old, much sort of entering his prime years as a forward. But we know that he's going to be with us for a very long time. He's proven in the Premier League, so he won't have that adaptation period, which you sort of alluded to there, Alfie. I think I would be surprised if we really go at this one and pursue it. No doubt a good player. And I also do just wonder why, those few years ago when half of Europe was after him, why no one really went hell to leather to get him, because I'm sure perhaps they could have if they wanted to. Matt can go for it.
Oh, sweet. This hand raise feature is my favorite thing. I'm going to use it every time now. I can actually answer that. There are 2 things. First of all, is I wanted to talk about the Italian influence a little bit. And I mean that specifically in terms of 2 things. One, we've seen that players who play in Italy tend to love playing in Italy. And he was having a great time at Lazio and wanted to continue. But also, look at Jorginho and kind of the first year of his time at Chelsea. He's an immensely talented player and has always been considered so. But he was great at sitting at the base of the midfield and passing, but everything else of his game was kind of slow because the Italian midfield space is something that contributes very well to an open play style, and the Prem is the exact opposite. It's tight quarters, fast decisions. He won't be used to that. The other reason is fitness. He is the type of, you'll get this actually randomly often with Eastern European players who have that kind of overpowering physicality and will occasionally not be as intent on the physical sharpness and fitness side of the game. I remember Real Madrid specifically cited the fact that they didn't think he was going to be as well adjusted to doing kind of as many hard yards. Look at how they found that with Milikovic, right? But yeah, I think that was the other reason why a lot of teams looked at him, said, ooh, we're going to pay this release clause. I know Manchester United ended up taking a very different angle on the midfield that summer because of their managerial path. I think Milikovic Savic was a link that, who's their owner? Their owner
the
wanted
Glazers,
them to pursue. Yeah, the Glazer family wanted them to pursue because it was kind of that high profile, big money, gonna be a lot of shirt sales target. And I believe it wasn't Mourinho at the time. Whoever is managing them, it might have been Mourinho. Didn't like him as a player and didn't like the way he would fit the system. And that was kind of the reasoning behind pulling out of that deal.
I like that we are being linked with him because, as I've said multiple times on these videos and in podcasts, I think that should be the priority over a forward for me. Like another wide forward, someone that can play as an attacking eight and can bring that left side to life. And we'll see more from Martinelli if we bring in that player. I just don't know if he is the one. I also think you mentioned the pressing intensity earlier, and he doesn't strike me as someone who is great in a press. His data certainly doesn't show that. None of the clips from the extensive footage that I watched showed that. And nothing I've heard about him says he's played in a particularly intense press. I think you mentioned about Yuri Tielemans. I've watched the Arsenal Vision scouting video on Yuri Tielemans, where they watch sort of 50 minutes of his data, and he is really good at that initial press. Like, he may get bypassed a bit, but he recognizes his lack of pace, and because of that, he likes to bite in quick. And as soon as he loses the ball, he likes to get, you have to watch the footage and watch Clive Palmer explain it to really understand it. But that's part of what I like about Tielemans. I think I basically just make it clear that as much as I think Milikovic-Savic is a very good player, he's not. He wouldn't be top of my list, and I'd be much preferring Yuri Tielemans or someone like Fabian Ruiz from Napoli, who's also very good, who we've not really been linked to, but we have heard some discussions surrounding him and Arsenal. So who knows? Anything to add, boys, from either of you? Rob?
Yeah, I just thought I'd jump on your point. Forgot to mention it during my little speaking time about him. Sorry, got something in my throat. Just about how he tends to prefer to play on the right. I just think that makes very little sense, and I think that sort of points towards this being a rumor, which could be sort of a tad fabricated. I think the rumors are only coming from Italy at the moment rather than England, and sometimes that can mean very good things. Remember when we were pursuing Nicola Pepe, it was literally only coming from France. And perhaps the Ivory Coast as well is his home country. And, that can sometimes be the most reliable. But, none of the sort of top dogs regarding Arsenal news are reporting this. So, my opinion is that it's unlikely, and I'm fully on the Yuri Tielemans train with you, Alfie.
Very nice. Mac, any final words about Sergei Milikovic-Savic?
I mean, Tielemans costs half the amount of money for a very similar amount of very Premier League proven quality. Not to mention, he's safer. I was just taking another quick scan through Milikovic-Savic's FBref, and he has some of the worst pass placement numbers of any midfielder in Europe, partially because he is the type of player who he lives at that right-sided 8 position. They basically have their central 6 as the pivot in their pressing system, kind of press breaking system, I should say, how they play out from the back. And he is the second look in every one of their press breaking schemes, so he can turn and play. But whether it's passes offside, out of bounds, intercepted, or blocked, he is genuinely in the 20th percentile or lower in each of those statistics. He tries a lot of good stuff. He has a lot of high statistical percentage looks and a lot of quality looks, but he also tends to be very error prone, which I think is something that we, frankly, not to say can't afford right now, but for a £60 million player, error prone is not the flag you want him to be waving above his head.
And it's not what Arteta wants, is it? He likes really technically secure players. And he wants to keep the ball, and he wants to win by keeping the ball, which is what Pep Guardiola does. I don't think this is going to happen. I don't see much validity in the rumours, but it was one to discuss. Who knows? There are a lot of reports suggesting we've made a £47 million bid, I think it is. We'll wait to see if anything comes of that from David Ornstein or Fabrizio or Charles Watts or whatever, Chris Wheatley. Any final parting words? No. Cool. All right. Thank you for watching this. We'll see you in the next one. And subscribe and that. Bye.